And I am here on my weekly live. So lovely to see you. And if you are here, please say hi. I am live on YouTube and in my crafty in my Crafty Carol's Cards. I love alliteration, but it's so difficult to say. My Crafty Carol's Cards Facebook page, and I am live in both. I have got the Facebook page here, so I'm hoping if it actually does decide to stream, because it doesn't seem to be at the moment, but if it does, then I'll be able to see the comments come up on that. And I've got the chat up this week. I found it. It's all sorted. So I apologise again for last week because it was a mess when I couldn't get on live, which was such a shame. But yeah, today, hopefully everything will work. So let's see if we are actually live on here. Yes, we are. That's brilliant. So I should be able to see if there are any comments on there and come up. I'll try and remember to keep looking. So this is enough of my face anyway, especially with my hair a bit odd today. Let me just swap to my desk view and I'll stay in the corner, which is a much better way to see me. Let's just see if we can straighten that up a bit. There we go. That's better. So I got my coffee. I'm going to finish drinking my coffee while I tell you about what I'm going to do today. And the stamps that the set I'm using today is actually the Countryside Corners, which is an interesting set. I'm using it alongside Go to Greetings, which is my Go to Greetings stamp set. And this Countryside Corners is lovely. It's got this stamp, which is stamps all these different octagons. And then we've got dies that cut them all out. So how good is that? So that's the set I'm using. I'm just going to put it over there for a minute. And I'm using some of this gorgeous paper. This is the Countryside Inn paper, which is in the annual catalogue. It should be still available. I understand it is. But again, gorgeous paper, all the blues. All the blues got lovely two-sided paper. So if I show you both sides of the paper, that's one. Some of them won't be in pairs because I actually used quite a bit. So this one has got lovely animals on the front and a lovely dotty pattern on the back. Then these two, this one has these lovely flower, sort of ovally flower things on the front and a lovely dotty stripy pattern on the back. More stripes on the back of this one. That's got birds on the front, all sorts of beautiful birds. This one has got little rabbits on the front, so that might be nice for Easter. I'll have to think about that. With, again, another stripy pattern on the back of that one. And I think those are most of this. One more sheet, if I can get it, which is this lovely flower one, which I've used quite a lot, and flowers and dotted stripes on the back. So blue, blue, blue all the way today, I think. But didn't just want to make a card today. I wanted to talk about card layouts. And when I make a card, just leave those to the side for a minute. When I make a card or when I get a new punch, I actually punch out all the shapes from it. So here we've got a 1 3/4 circle, which I think is available, I'm not sure. And the 2 3/8, the new circle punch, that's an oval die, the largest one. I've got two the same size there, but 7 centimetre squares. Then I've got various strips, again, of different sizes. And I use these to play around with card layouts. And it's really worth doing because if I get a blank card, hopefully I've got one here, yes. If I get a blank card, what I can do, I should have used a darker one, but never mind, it'll do for now. Then I can try out laying out different things. I might have a stripe down one side and I might decide to put an oval sentiment. Perhaps that's all it needs. Perhaps I need to add a second piece going across. So I might put that one in as well and see what that all looks like. And then obviously I can decide on the colours and the various things. I might want to put a circle on there. Perhaps I want to put 2 circles. Perhaps I want to add a sentiment in another shape. You see what I mean? You can play around with all the shapes you've got and make up different, so perhaps have a square on instead. Let's have a square on that one, for example. So you see how I can just play around and use these for different card layouts. Use the basic idea. So rather than me just keep showing you all of these bits, which, as I say, I keep just at the side here, ready to play with when I need. I'll put them over there for now. Let me show you some of the cards that I've made using these template ideas. So this is one using Zany Zoo, and here I decided just to use a large circle and then put the image on the circle and just add a sentiment on the front of the card. this one using an old set. There's a few in this actually. This one I decided to use smaller circles with images on. This one I've used a strip down the middle. This is actually a card that lifts out with the strip in front, which is rather nice. This one, I thought I'd do a James Bondy theme, this one, with Nuts About Squirrels, and I had my image in the main one, but I've used different size circles to make a pattern across the card. So another way of using all these different shapes. This one was one I made in my live, my Craft Along live last week with my ladies who came along, and I made several of this using the DSP. Wanted to show off these new embossing folders, to be honest. But again, so I've got a strip, a bigger square, and then a circle that I've put together on that card. Just a circle on that one, and on those. Used a square on that one with a strip down the side. You can get the idea. This one I used 4 different rectangles and then put a hexagon shape in the middle. This one 4 rectangles with a circle in the middle. So you can see the sorts of things I'm talking about. Here I've used squares and a square sentiment. Here I've used a strip down the side and then embossed the lot. This one, another one with a strip down the middle and pattern either side, which is one of my favourite layouts, I have to say. I use that one a lot. But that just gives you an idea of all of the different, where am I going to put those so they're out of the way and don't fall over somewhere? There. All the different things. Oops, hang on, Facebook's gone off because it will do every so often. I have to keep looking at it to make sure I haven't got any comments on that. That's fine. I must remember to keep checking that one. So anyway, I thought I would show you my process for going through. So to start off with, this is the stamp when it's stamped out. These are the different layers on it. And obviously you can cut out one layer at a time or use all of them. And here's a card I've started using these bits. I've got several. I've done quite a lot of the prep, so it's not too boring for you to watch. I'm using Misty Moonlight as my base card. And here my layout is I've used a strip across, which I've actually trimmed because I wanted, you can see the pattern on this side, I wanted the little fox on this side just sort of showing here. So he's peeping around the edge and I wanted to show the whole fox this side. So that's why I've cut that in the middle. And then I've got all my other bits here. So here, what I've done is stamped out, oh, can't pick it up now, stamped out this stamp, and I've actually cut out the outermost circle using the dies, outside and inside it, and then I've laid it on a piece of plain white card, which gives me a nice insert and gives me a slightly different looking insert. So I hope that's enough in view so you can see it. Yeah, that's good. Oh, somebody's joined. How lovely to see you, whoever you are. That's the one thing. You can't tell on here who people are. And I'm hoping that the chat does come up because I have got it up. But whether I actually will see it at all, I don't know. Who knows? Oh, I see. Oh, no, I've just pressed the wrong button. Okay. That makes it come up on screen. Okay, fair enough. Let me stop playing and get on with card making. I can do the card making, can't do the technology side. So here I've used my idea for a strip that I've just shown you, and I've laid it on a navy blue mat, so it just has a little bit of an edge around it. I'm going to have that across here. I have also cut out a sentiment strip, and I haven't quite decided where it's going to go, probably up there. And then I've cut out, just punched out with actually a retired punch. I've punched out some little white flowers, which I'm going to add to everything here. So my first step is going to be to stamp the greeting. I've got this is the inside. You can see on the Countryside Inn thing. This is the inside one that I just cut out using the dies and then laid it on a mat and trimmed the corners to match. So if I can open my ink pad, I'm going to make this a thinking of you card. So when I'm doing thinking of you cards, I tend not to bother putting anything in the middle because obviously I want to be able to write something very specific if I'm using a thinking of you card. So I'll just try and line this up without getting too much in the way of the camera, because obviously you can stamp this before you cut it, which is probably better. There we go. Or use the Stamparatus, might be a good one. That's not entirely straight, but it will do for now. So let us put these together. So I'm going to stick my panel on flat, then I'm going to raise my sentiment up on some dimensionals. So put the panel on first, and I've decided not to have that the whole length of the card. I want the same sort of gap all the way round. And when you're thinking about layouts, think about the gaps you want, because you do want to see the card behind. Sometimes I will emboss the card behind, and that looks rather nice. So I think I'm going to have my Thinking of You up at the top here, and I will need some dimensionals. I'll just get my dimensionals out. So I'll put a couple of dimensionals on that and stick that up here. So we have Thinking of You. And then just to finish off, I have these flowers, and I'm just going to shape them by using my knuckle, actually, because I can't see my shapey tool, but just by pressing them into my palm. If you put the flower in the palm, you can use the opposite knuckle just to give them a little bit of shape. There we go. A little bit of shape on those. I think they're too flat otherwise. And I will need some little gems for the middle. Where is my gem box? Oh, better reach that, forgot to get those. Can't have everything on the desk, there isn't room. We'll just have the basic gems, I think. Oh, pearls. Let's have pearls. Pearls would look nice, wouldn't they? Let's put that back over there. Right. Good. So let me pop these on. I'm probably going to get glue everywhere. I've just opened a new Tombow and just go a bit mad, but let's see if we can manage this without getting too much glue everywhere. And just put a little dot on each of those on the back. Phew, that was potential disaster. Now I've lost my tweezers. Where are my tweezers? There's a pair of those. Not my usual ones, but they should work. Oop. Right, so we'll have a couple of these above. Thinking of You. I'm going to have to get them off the edge of my mat to turn them to get them on. There we go. Nope, I'm going to have to slide these off to get them. There we go. One there. And the last one, which is stuck to me. There we go. Ooh. I think we'll have it up there, actually. There. So just pressing those down, and then I can finish it off just with my pearls. This is where I'll poke these, and I'll probably go shooting off across the room. Tiny little things, these, but they just add a little something to the middle of these very plain white flowers. Obviously, I could have punched these flowers out from paper, but I think there was enough design in the quite busy DSP that I didn't really want to put too much else on. So there we go. So there is the first card that I've made, using 2 strips as my layout there, and then just a little thin sentiment strip, and using the Countryside In stamp cut out and laid on basic white for the middle. Right, just checking there's no... Oh, Anne, hello, Anne, it's you. You started to watch on Facebook, changed to YouTube. I don't know which is better, and I don't know which you like. Perhaps I'd love to know from people which they prefer, whether it's YouTube or Facebook. I have a love-hate relationship with Facebook, I have to say. That'll probably get me turned off or something. But anyway, I do have a bit of a love-hate relationship. Right, I have already prepared some envelopes, and all I've done is just stamped 2 little flowers in the corner of each envelope, so they're all the same. So I'll put that one to one side. Let's have a look at another card. So as I say, I've got a couple more prepared just with these different layouts using this Countryside inset. So which do you prefer, Anne? Do you think that, I don't know, do you think it's better, or, I don't know, Facebook's, I don't know, I find Facebook a bit odd. I don't tend to see everything that I really want to see quite often, which is annoying. I don't know. Anyway, let's get on with this second card. So here I'm just using, now I ought to talk about sizes. I'm using my usual card size, which is 21 centimetres by 14.8, scored at 10.5, and that provides my card blank. And I've stuck to my Misty Moonlight colour combo here, and I've got an insert for the inside that I can stamp a greeting on if I wanted, which I will do later if I have to, because it's boring. I'll take forever to decide what I want to use, probably, so probably best to do that later. Trust myself that I won't make a mess, and to be honest, if you do make a mess, just stick a second insert on top. There's always ways around any messes we make with crafting. Happy accidents, me and my friend call them when we're crafting. So that's just my insert, just plain at the moment. I shall do something more later. And then on this one, whoa, I've punched out some shapes using flower punches and bow punches and things, which I'm going to add on. And I'm going to make this card landscape. So it's the same base, you just turn it round. So I've cut my DSP for the front, and I'm using this stripy pattern DSP from the Countryside Inn set. And this is 14.3 by 9. Yeah, 14.3 by 10, sorry, for this layer that I'm going to stick on my DSP. So we'll stick that on next. I don't like hiding these birds because they're rather nice on this paper, but I wanted this stripy layer for this because I want the stamp to sort of be the big thing, the Countryside Inn stamp. So this time, from my basic stamp, I've cut out the centre, and it was actually that centre that I used for this card, but I thought I don't want to waste the rest of the stamp. I cut off the outside to make the insert for this card. This is all just one stamp, and I'm left with this bit, and this bit I'm going to use as the front piece for this card. And I'm going to stamp my sentiment actually on this piece of scrap, which will stick behind. So let me stamp that first. I've got an open ink pad on my desk. That's always dangerous, really dangerous. But hey, so I'm going to stamp Happy Birthday here, just in the middle. There we go. Just wipe my stamp. I do like to clean my stamps more or less as soon as I've used them. I think it just keeps them in slightly better nick than if you don't. And I'm going to close that ink pad because it's just too dangerous to have an ink pad open on my desk. I will lean in it or put a finger in it or something stupid. Right. So for this one, I'm actually going to stick this in the center of the card and then fit this around it on dimensionals. So we want that just about bang in the middle. So I'm going to stick that on flat first. So you can help me by agreeing if that's probably in the middle. I think it's close enough to the middle, which is fine. And then I did have, oh, here's the dimensionals that I had. There we go. So yeah, I'm not surprised, and I prefer YouTube as well. I've really enjoyed it. It's 2 years now since I started doing videos on YouTube. Most of them are recorded, and this year I promised myself I would do more lives, hence my Tuesday afternoon lives. And I'm hoping to make this a regular thing nearly every Tuesday afternoon. The only ones I might miss are if I'm away on holiday, which I am a little bit in March. So I will try and keep it going up till then, and then obviously I'll have to work out a schedule for when I'm away. I can still record videos and put them up. We can't do the live. Anyway, for this one, I'm going to make sure my sentiment is in the middle. Make sure this is more or less straight. I think it is straight. And there we have a simple Happy Birthday, which would make a nice mail card because it's not too fancy, although I am going to add these. These are just from an old punch. I've cut a few leaves and a few flowers. So I shall just put those on. I'm going to have a couple either side. So a couple of little dots of glue. Oh, with my very new, I say little dots of glue. These are not little dots of glue. They're great globules of glue because this is a new Tombow, and it's going a little bit out of control. Let me try and get a couple of smaller dots this time. That's better. So we'll have a couple of them out this side and a couple off the other side. And then we'll dot the flowers around just to make some fun. So some going that way, some going this way. I haven't decided whether to put any gems on this one. I don't think I probably will. I think I'll just leave it as the happy birthday. So let me just put some glue on the back of these little tiny flowers. This is an old punch. Oops. Get it on the concave, convex. I can never remember which way around it is. Anyway, I've shaped these a little bit, so I want the glue on the bit so that the flowers stick up as flowers should stick up, if that makes sense. You agree stamp pads need to be cleaned, Anne? That's so true. I think it's so easy to leave things a bit dirty. The only time I don't clean it, and this is an interesting tip, but the only time I don't clean it is if I've been using Versamark. I actually leave my stamps with any Versamark on, because that actually does them some good and means that if you're going to use them with ink, it will pick up the ink much better, which is an interesting thing, but it's true. So I do that. I leave my Versamark stamps, Versamarked stamps, just with Versamark. I don't clean those. But yeah, any ink, and especially if you're using a dark ink, really important to clean the stamp as quickly as possible, because they might and could, there we go, they can stain, especially the red inks. Red inks are the red dyed type inks, the oranges and reds and things, can really make a mess. Right, I'm just going to put a few more. As I've got these out, I'm going to put these in the middle of these flowers. Ooh. So for this layout, again, I've just used a different shape and just decided to have it across the middle of the card. So just have a play. If you're ever lost for inspiration, use your punch shapes, use those little scraps that you've got lying around, lay them out on a card and see if it helps you get ideas for what you can do with them. So there's my second card. Hopefully you can see that there. Just a really simple happy birthday. I haven't stamped anything inside yet. I will stamp that and finish it off later. So my final card for this session, just check there's nothing in, no, nothing in Facebook. That's okay, because you're on here now, Anne. I think there is somebody else, one more person on. Oh no, how do I move the chat down? Perhaps it'll move naturally, who knows. Right, this final one, I decided I wanted to use a circle type pattern. And I've actually punched out using my 2 3/4 inch punch, 2 3/8, isn't it, the new punch, because it just fits around there. There's slightly more of an oval design on the paper, but I thought the circle looked quite nice, which I've got, there's a top and bottom to it, which is nice. That way around, that's the bottom, because it's got the fan going up, in my view. That's how I'm going to use it anyway. And I have already stamped this time, thinking of you. This time I've used 2 of the inside ones and cut it out there. So it's the same as before, same as this one. Again, stamped it out, and I've just cut out those bits, the middle 2, and already stamped thinking of you on there, ready. Again, I've got an insert, and I've also got my piece of DSP for the front. And this time, what I'm going to do, and I will have to leave the camera for a minute to go off and do this because I need to use my big cut and emboss machine, but I'm going to stick this on, and then I'm actually going to cut out the shape from the center here. I'm going to cut it out on one side actually, and I haven't decided, perhaps that side. I'm going to cut out the shape, and then I can stick this behind onto my inside piece. All will become clear. Let me just stick things together, and then I shall show you what I mean, because I think it'll look rather nice. We're going to try. So to do this, important that I put glue all over the whole DSP. If I just put it around the edge and then cut out a shape, then the edges could stick up. So I want to make sure I am putting glue over the whole of the DSP piece. And again, I'm just going to use the pattern side. Although I love the foxes on the back of this pattern, but it'll do. So I have this for inside. And again, I can stamp this later. And this one I definitely would stamp later because I don't quite know yet where my circle has to be. Because if I stuck my circle onto my white piece inside and then tried to cut it from the outside, that way lies madness, because trying to get it lined up would be nearly impossible. So this is the simple way to do it, which is that we cut our circle first. So my idea is I'm going to cut my circle. This is an old die here, and then use my thinking of you just at the side there, like that, and it'll leave an aperture in the card. So I'm going to go away and just go and cut that, and I shall be back in just a second. Left a chair in the way. I had to walk around a chair there to get round. So there you can see I've just cut out using this. This is one of the layered circles dies. I'm never getting rid of those. I know they're retired, but I'm keeping them. They're wonderful. And that I can actually use as a template. If I write on that the size, I can measure it right on the size. That can join my template. So I've got another one to practice with there. Don't waste anything. So the simple way then of putting this together is that I can place this using this circle as my guide. I can actually place it. It is the same size, so I'd need to move it around a little bit so I can place it there. Make sure I've got it exactly right. That is it. And then, just to make sure I'm going to stick it in the right place, I'm just going to mark a few of the areas around like that. So I've got some light, oh, can you see those? Light pencil marks. I hope you can see those. Light pencil marks to show where it needs to sit. And then I can put some glue on that. And this is the bit I want at the bottom. So I can use my lines to just line that up, make sure it's in the right place. Stick it down, check before. Yeah, that's okay. And then I can use my rubber, which I seem to have lost. I think it must be behind there somewhere. Sorry, I had to move the camera just to find the rubber, which was at the back there. Then I can just rub out the lines from the side here, so I can't see those. You can hardly see them anyway, but I like to get rid of any bits I've got left. There's my shape, and then you see it through there on the front of the card. And then just to finish, a few dimensionals on here. Put an extra one in. There we go. I think we'll have it. Can't decide. I think I'll have it slightly up from the middle of the circle. Don't like things to be too symmetrical in cards. So there, I've got my, there we go. So there's my circle that you can see through the card, and then you open it, it's still there. And I've got room to write whatever I want to write. Just thinking perhaps that should have been at the top. I don't know. I wonder which way around that should be. Who knows? Anyway, that's the way around it's staying. So I hope you enjoyed those few little ideas. As I said, using templates, using these shapes that I've got here, and I've got another one added to it, cut out some shapes and use them and just lay them round, because it'll help you decide when you're not sure what to do with a card, give you ideas what to make with it. So there are my 3 cards. I should have a third envelope somewhere. Yes, there we go. Thought I'd stamp 3 there. So there are my cards for today. I hope you enjoyed those, and I hope they give you some ideas as to what you can do with different sets. And perhaps if you've got the Countryside in set, have a play with it, because I find these shapes are just lovely that it cuts out. I wasn't sure at first. I thought, oh, set of dies in this one stamp, but I think it makes some beautiful things. So I hope you enjoyed today, and I will see you again next Tuesday at the same time for another half-hour Craft with Carol. Thanks for joining me today. Bye for now.